John Hollinger writes the rare positive article in regards to the Chicago Bulls, specifically around the Josh Giddey deal. We're going to talk a little bit about that. Plus, the Bulls apparently missed on an Alex Caruso for Jonathan Kuminga trade that we'll talk about, and overall under for Jalen Smith. We'll get into all that and more on today's Locked On Bulls.
You are Locked On Bulls, your daily Chicago Bulls podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks for tuning in to Locked On Bulls, member of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every single day. I'm Haize, host and creator of Chicago Bulls Central, Chicago Bears Central YouTube pages and podcasts. And today's episode is brought to you by me and Pat, because nobody else. Pat will be here shortly. He will follow up, but we had an article that was released yesterday from John Hollinger in regards to the Josh Giddey deal. And he actually named Josh Giddey's contract as one of the more underrated contracts of this offseason. And there's a specific quote in this article that I kind of want to focus this on. He mentioned how with Josh Giddey's contract taking up 14% of the cap, it's not even that Josh Giddey has to turn into a star or superstar on this contract for it to be valuable, but more so that this is a contract that you see that would be paid to somebody who's a really good sixth man or a third or fourth starter on a team. He goes on to talk about how Josh Giddey would be like the sixth highest paid player on teams like the Minnesota Timberwolves, the Toronto Raptors, those type of teams. He'd be, the sixth highest paid player on the Cleveland Cavaliers. And so, I think it should help. I know that it won't, because some people have their own perception on the Josh Giddey thing, and that's not going to change even when facts are presented. But there's almost this perception from some people like the Bulls paid Josh Giddey like some superstar level deal, and they didn't. They actually didn't at all. And the how reasonable this contract is for Josh Giddey, I think, does play a part into that this could end up being a great value contract for the Chicago Bulls when it's all said and done. Now, it could be. Now, let's say that Josh Giddey fizzles out, and at worst, he's like your third best starter on your team. It's still not a contract that is farly off being indicative of that being the level of play. And so Hollinger having the perspective that he had on this Josh Giddey contract is just, it's good to hear a different perspective. Sometimes that's outside of Chicago media. Some of it is a bit biased sometimes with the Bulls, but you can pull your bit of fairness and why that perception is there if you're looking at things objectively out of just about any article. I think even with the Bulls being ranked 28th in ESPN's future rankings, like it not that I agree with that they're low, their future is that bleak, but I do, with how they talked about it in that article with the front office being a big reason for doubt. And yeah, the Bulls have assets, but what are they going to do with those assets? The front office, like, you can always take a little bit from something and see the perspective that it's coming from if you're being fair and honest and objective. And I think when it comes to this Josh Giddey thing in contract, like it's pretty straightforward. Like, this isn't a terrible deal. And people that still look at this as some ultimately terrible deal for the Chicago Bulls, I think, are missing quite a bit. We got Pat in the building. What's going on, Pat?
Listen, a lot of dookie. Just
first
kids.
Of all, the fact that the first thing you say on the show is listen, a lot of dookie is wild.
Hey,
that's the first and foremost thing.
Listen, when you got a kid, boy, when you got an infant, and they all wake up at the same time, it's like,
yeah.
You go to the bathroom, you wait a minute, what's going on over here? Why is it down your leg? Oh no. But yeah, what's going on, Brody?
That's crazy. I'm glad. Listen, the one thing I'm happy about, my youngest is 12. I'm so far removed from changing diapers, bro. Like, I am so happy, bro, because like I don't know if I can go back, bro. I'm not even gonna lie to you, man.
Hey, we getting this snip, so we never have to. I'm calling it one. Hey, whatever. If anybody got a good doctor in the area, let me know. We'll give you some sponsorship on that.
That is crazy, bro. Why has Pat been getting more sleep? Well, he got snipped by Dr. Snip-a-Lot, so there you go on that one.
Snip-a-Lot is crazy.
yeah. I mean, technically, if they're a vasectomy doctor, they're snipping a lot.
Heck of a name.
Dr. Snip-a-Lot. With that said, Pat, I was talking about the Hollinger article in regards to Josh Giddey and how he put in perspective how Josh Giddey's contract isn't indicative of even some a star level player, and how the Bulls getting great value out of that contract is more likely than not. He pointed out how the contract would be the fifth highest contract on teams like the Minnesota Timberwolves, even the Toronto Raptors, those type of teams and how to be the 6th highest paid contract on the Cleveland Cavaliers. Basically just saying that there's more underrated value in this Josh Giddey deal, not only because how he can still ascend as a player, but even if he does not, it's not like it's crazy money being 14% of the cap, which I think me and you both have talked about. Like people talk so much about the monetary value and they compare it to prior years where it's 25 million was such a big, large part of the cap. I think now people need to have conversations based off percentage of the cap, which how the money's gotten crazy in the NBA. But how you feel about that? The points that Hollinger made there.
Listen, he's a 22-year-old player who's averaging almost a triple-double. And I think this year you probably could see him averaging triple-double numbers because I don't know who the elite rebounder is on this team. The rebound numbers is usually what keeps him out of that triple-double area. Josh Giddey turned into one of the elite rebounders on this team.
He's second best rebounder on the team last year.
Yeah, so you're going to see him getting the 10 rebounds per game more times than not. The percentage, if you think this is a bad deal, you just refuse to update your mindset. You probably still think that, the Derrick Rose contract is too much. You're probably still living in this world where the Jordan was so good they had to pay him $40 million in 1 year. And that was amazing. Like you gotta come into the 21st century. And I think what happens with a lot of people is they follow the game. They don't follow what the game is doing that has changes in it. So you continue to watch. I'm not saying you're not basketball fans. You continue to watch. You continue to follow the team and stuff like that. But it feels like more times than not when we're having these conversations on good contract, bad contract, you're not continuing to update your knowledge of how the game is changing year over year. And I mean, at this point, we're 6 years into this new style? Like the apron is still pretty new, but like we're 6 years into,
the Supermax era. That's basically what
era. Like, there's no other way to say it. This is a very easy, simple contract to get done. And it's not even, I wouldn't even put this as a top 40 contract in the NBA, maybe. Like, I mean, we're being honest.
I mean, it's not like just when you look at the value. I think if I'm not mistaken, it's like 82nd or something like that. Like it's either in the 60s or the 80s. It's one of the two. Like, it's not a crazy contract. Like, people acting like this contract like is the thing that's going to hold the Bulls back so much financially. Is like, A, you clearly don't know what the financial situation is of the Bulls, and secondly, like you said, update your thinking on what contract size it is.
It is tied for 78.
There you see.
And I think the funny thing about it is, right, he's right behind LeBron James, except LeBron is making $101 million in 2 years.
Oh yeah, because LeBron's making
Josh Giddey's making $100 million in 4.
That's crazy. So like, yeah, it's just you just gotta chill a little bit, bro. Like,
he's making less than Aaron Gordon.
Aaron Gordon has been a role player on the championship team, but I get what you're saying.
I'm not saying it's wrong.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like to put it in perspective, like people are trying to act like it's so many players ahead of him that I guarantee you, he makes less than. Well, no, Derek White makes sense. I was going to say
he makes less than Emmanuel Quickly.
He makes less than Jordan Poole. I mean, like, I just going through the list of names he makes less than Jalen Johnson.
So yeah, I mean, and that's just what it is. Like, people acting like this is like a crazy deal where it like hurt the Bulls. Is like, please update your thinking, my people, because like this. And here's the thing, and I think this is the thing, and the biggest part about Hollinger's whole article is that, keep in mind, he's not done getting better. Like,
yeah,
he's not done getting better at all. So like, while this, like, no matter how you view and feel about this move, guess what? Like, at 22 years old, this is going to be like the third time he's coming in actually playing point guard for the entirety of the season. There's more than enough development still left to be done by Josh Giddey. So, we'll see how this is going to shake out. I think it's going to be fine. I think when we look back on this deal, it could very well be more likely that we look at this and be like, hey, that Josh Giddey contract ain't that bad.
Bro, listen, here's the funny part. And this is he making just under Josh Giddey, like 100,000s under Josh Giddey. Terry Rozier, who was so bad last season, they thought that he was gambling to cheat. They thought he was taking unders on games and throwing turnovers on purpose. That's how bad he was.
It was so Terry Rozier was so bad that for a team that cried out for a point guard, they said, "Listen, Terry, just stay at home, bro. We good, man. Like, yeah, we need a point guard, but not you. We don't need
literally,
you,
I was about to say, there's like, can anybody play point guard? Can anybody play point guard? I can play point guard. Can anybody else play point guard?"
Terrible. But with that said, man, next up, we're going to get into this reported missed trade that the Warriors turned down to get Alex Caruso for Jonathan Kuminga. But first, we got to get to a message from Monarch Money. Most people can't name all their financial accounts or even what they're worth, whether it's 401ks, properties, or investments. And when you don't have a full picture, you can end up leaving money on the table. That's where there is Monarch Money. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or your phone. Monarch is built for people with busy lives. If you put off organizing your finances, Monarch is for you. Monarch does the heavy lifting for you. You can link all your accounts in minutes, see clear data visuals, get smart categorization of your spending, and finally feel in control of your money without ever touching a spreadsheet. And if you share accounts with a loved one as well, you can add that shared account to your individual accounts and track everything and even set goals between the accounts together. Don't let financial opportunity slip through the cracks. Use code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code LOCKEDONNBA. More Locked On Bulls coming up next. All right, Pat. So, of course, when things start going left, start going wrong, you hear about all these woulda, coulda, shoulda deals. Yeah. One of the ones that popped up recently with Jonathan Kuminga turning down a 3-year, $75 million contract from the Golden State Warriors to not sign the qualifying offer there. He still has not signed officially. Media's days are next week for some teams, by the way.
He said, "I'm taking it to October 1st, baby."
Hey, bro, listen. And you know what? If he does end up taking the qualifying offer, I can't be mad at it. But if he pushes it all the way to October 1st just to end up taking a 3-year, $75 million deal, it's almost as bad as the Bulls and Josh Giddey taking almost 80 days to meet in the middle.
Bro, I'm going to be honest with you, bro. Like, it's worse because at this point, like, it's kind of getting into like, hey, like, we know you all right, but who do you think you are, though? Like, you better be LeBron on the other side of this deal, bro.
Well, I think it's just the fact that he doesn't really want to stay with the Warriors, but clearly he's going to have to stay with the Warriors. And then he doesn't want to be with the Warriors. No other team's offering another contract. Yeah. He doesn't want to sign a long-term deal, and they trade him without him having the option to get back into the free agent market after that. You can't get everything you want. It's too many layers to it, bro. And that's where the Giddey and Bulls thing, where both sides wanted to re-up on a new deal. They just wanted their own value on it. Like neither the Warriors or Kuminga wants to stay together. Yeah. They just have to at this point.
The Warriors are just trying to make it a better trade situation. But bro, like, listen, you better be living in the world of I'm willing to play for less for you than to play for this organization. Because I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. Like, you're not gonna get offered $25 million everywhere.
No, he's not.
Like, when he hit this market, it's definitely about to be, I got 20 for you.
Exactly. Well, yeah, 2022-ish, like, right? Like maybe around that area. Like, he initially, like Josh Giddey started off wanting $30 million. So that's why it's like, all right, they offered you 3 years at 25 per. Like, that's in the middle. Like, what are we doing here?
I'll bet you he signs a Patrick Williams contract. I'll bet
money. If he was
going into free agency, why would I offer you money? Like, you turned down 25. That don't mean the league gonna offer you more than that when you get out there. You ain't did nothing. And they not finna play you. You about to sign this qualifying offer and they not finna play you. Like, there's a certain point where it's like, you got to realize who you are. I get holding out. I get not, like, trying to get everything that you worth, but like, fam, you averaging 15 points a game. I'm paying you off for what you actually did, not what you can do.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing is too is that Kuminga, when he's on the court with Steph and Jimmy, it actually was pretty. No, Steph and Dre, it actually was pretty good, plus minus wise. But It is what it is, though. We're not even here to break down the Kuminga value.
It's just mind blowing. Turned down $25 million. My bad. I threw the whole show off.
But with that said, so apparently the Bulls were in contract or in trade talks before they ended up trading Caruso for Josh Giddey for a Kuminga Caruso trade, which the Warriors turned down because the ownership was not ready at that point in time to give up on the value of Jonathan Kuminga. You got to think that the Warriors are kicking themselves in the butt for that now, because you got to think it's clearly a player that Steve Kerr doesn't want to use. That was clear even before then. But then now you're stuck in this situation where you just saw Alex Caruso help the OKC Thunder win a title, and Caruso would be perfect for that team, especially after they had just lost Klay Thompson too.
Bro, you gotta think about this as well. Caruso walked into OKC and we instantly went championship.
Mm-hmm.
Like soon as the trade was done, we was like, that's a championship team. Like they will be in the fight.
To the degree we were kind of looking at them like that before anyway. But yeah, you get that. It's clearly
but you knew this was the one that was like, if they get there, this will put you over the top.
Yeah.
Like, this is how you beat Denver. This is how you beat. Caruso was guarding Jokic and was shutting him down. Like you knew instantly, like, that's the over the top move. That's what you needed. And yes, you kind of get that in Jimmy Butler, but Jimmy Butler's stupid expensive.
Yeah.
And he's starting to trend towards, I hope he has a better season this year without all the issues and stuff like that. But like, he's starting to trend towards kind of the reason why Miami was like, this is not the future. This is where we need to move on here. Like, and you got him for what? Was he making $48 million over the next two?
Who, Caruso?
No, Jimmy. I think Jimmy's getting like 48 million. Right. Like you're overpaying for exactly what you wanted at Alex Caruso, and you're more than likely gonna have to sign this dude that's gonna walk away for nothing. $54 million.
Jimmy does have more offensive upside, and especially in the playoffs. So I get, but like Jimmy at one point, I think you can compare to Caruso as a defender, but now he's not nearly the defender Caruso is. Like, he's just not. And I mean, age has caught up with Jimmy Butler in that sense. Like,
who would have thought we'd be in a world where Jimmy's 36?
Bro, that's crazy. No. That's wild, bro. That's crazy. But yeah, I mean, let me ask you this though, for the Bulls aspect of it. Had the Bulls did do this deal, where do you think the team where would the team be at versus where they're at now, how we look at it with Josh Giddey? Because it would have been basically the same thing. The Bulls would have still had to go through negotiations. They still would have gone through restricted free agency the same way. They probably would have gave him the $25 million. But does the state of where do you think the state of the team is at that point? Had we did the Caruso for Kuminga trade instead of getting Josh Giddey?
Same spot. You don't have a point guard. Like, you're basically going from an offense that is a more flowing offense to an offense that is a one-on-one, go out and score an offense. Kobe's probably your point guard at that point.
Kobe's you probably your one. You probably Io at the 2,
Io at the 2, Kuminga at the 3. I guess we could throw Modest in there at the 4. Like, I don't see an offense that flows there. I see a lot of one-on-one.
You know what that would have done? I think we would have just had a younger version of DeMar and Zach.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was about to say. That's literally what I was about to say.
Like, we would have just had a younger version of DeMar. We would have been back in the same exact thing that we were before. It would have been, like you said, heavy isolation, not really as much flowing into that offense. Not to say that Kuminga couldn't have come here, especially as a starter, that you would have to rely on. Maybe it would have been more towards 18 points per game or whatever in that first year. But like, it would have just been back to very similar to what we already had and we saw. And not to say that the Kuminga Zach like didn't have its moments, or I mean the Kuminga Zach, the Zach DeMar era didn't have its moments to it, but to just do that just younger, I don't know if that would have been the direction change that it feels like we're actually in right now.
And listen, there's no world in this modern NBA where it works. That's nuts. Did you see that comment?
See what? I don't even have the comments up, so I ain't see no comment.
Haize with
oh wow,
that's diabolical. And the worst part is I could see him doing it.
That's crazy.
That's diabolical work right there. But no, like I just
when Stacey King live on air said, "I'm coming," like that was at that point you realize Stacey may just be at this point now where he's like, "I'm gonna do and say whatever I want."
I'm coming, God. I can see him doing that on a. Shout out to Stacy, bro.
Man, I haven't done an episode with Stacy in like a year and a half, bro. We got to get up.
We gotta get Stacy back on, bro.
Well, that's funny, man.
Hey, that's the wild thing to say. And then right after you go, he came early for what did he say? He came for the massage, but he got the facial.
Let's go, bro. Go into your segment, brother.
Oh, what a great comment. We got to talk about Jalen Smith over-unders as we keep this show moving along and try and get this back on the rails. But first, we got to tell you guys all about a message from Open Phone. If you're running a business and you know that every missed call is money left on the table, think about the last time you had an urgent need, maybe a plumber or a service provider. If the first one didn't answer, did you wait? Probably not. You moved on. That's why you need Open Phone. Open Phone is the #1 business phone system built to streamline and scale your customer communications, all from an app on your phone or computer. Open Phone lets you manage business calls and text from a single app. The shared inbox feature is a game changer. Your team can jump into any conversation instantly without missing a beat. Open Phone is offering my listeners 20% off your first 6 months at openphone.com/LockedOnNBA. That's OPENPHONE.com/LockedOnNBA. And if you have existing numbers with another service, Open Phone will port them over at no extra charge. Open Phone, no missed calls, no missed customers. More Locked On Bulls coming up next.
That was hilarious, bro. That's comment of the day, bro. He won the day on that one. With that said, Pat,
please, God, don't let Kuminga go play with Grady Dick.
With that said, Pat, last topic of the day before we get out of here, we've been doing our over-under. We're quickly getting and approaching Javon Carter over-under, which I have something planned for that. I'm gonna have fun with that one. Jalen Smith.
Javon Carter mixtape sold out of the back of a 64 Cutlass.
With that said, Pat, Jalen Smith played 64 games for the Chicago Bulls last season. Surprisingly, the second highest amount of games he's played ever in his NBA career, by the way. And with us both looking at it and saying that we don't exactly know how Billy Donovan is going to view Jalen in his role here, over under 60 games played for Jalen Smith next year.
I would say under, because I think, the minutes with Jalen Smith started to change a little bit when Zach Collins got here. And what did we say? I think we went kind of money line on his being at about 20 minutes. I think those are your backup center minutes.
Yeah. I
think like you're going to have Vooch playing about 32 minutes, and your backup center rotation is probably going to be about 15 to 20 minutes with whoever's there. And I think I don't see the problem with Jalen Smith. If you guys remember last year, it wasn't just the knees. The knees, I don't know what happened with that, but it wasn't just the knees. Remember, Jalen Smith had a couple of months where he was really hot from the 3-point line, and Billy could utilize him in that role. And that was why you were seeing him get more playing time. And then he had a week and a half, 2 weeks where it was gone and it never returned. Like, I think that's the part where everything good. You got a ghost in there?
It was the dog yawning. Like, I don't know why he keeps messing with me during the show.
That dog yawn. I'm like,
yeah, because like I had the headphones. I'm like, wait a second, where's that coming from? And then I look over and I see his ears up. Like, he's just messing with me on purpose at this point in time.
He's like, you doing Locked On Bulls? All right. Let's do something.
You remember how like Alan used to purposely interrupt me during every live stream?
Alan
now Loki's just like, hey,
Ryan, bro. That come down in a towel, bro.
It was the towel, bro. That was podcasting. Like when he came in with that towel, and that was the time I didn't even know. I'm looking at the screen to read comments. I'm like, is that a naked man behind me?
Hey, Haize, unfortunately for you, at least it was your son.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
My situation was a little bit worse. We got to bring that video back. We bring that back about once a year, bro.
Yeah, it's about that time. I think we're overdue.
And for people who don't know,
that clip back.
That sounds wild. But nah, man. I I just think it really comes down to the 3-point shooting for Jalen Smith. Not to say that Zach Collins is a phenomenal 3-point shooter, but what he brings as far as an aggression and a toughness, I think that you can't replicate that with Jalen Smith. And so for me, I think you got to go under with the minutes on Jalen Smith or on the games started or played this year for Jalen Smith.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a little, if no injuries, nothing. I think it's going to be a little bit rough go for Jalen Smith, mainly. And part of that is, too, is because Billy Donovan just didn't like playing him at power forward. I think when you look at the Bulls bench, we have a lot of players that can play multiple positions. Jalen is one of that. He can play power forward or center, but for some reason, Billy never really liked playing him at power forward. And I think, of course, now with Modest and, they're going to want to take a look. I even think like with Noah eventually getting in there, that's probably going to lean that way. So I don't know if
got to be able to knock down that shot.
Yeah, I mean, that's true too. Like, and if Jalen was more consistent as a 3-point shooter, maybe that would be there a little bit more for him. So, we'll see. But I do think as it stands right now, Jalen's on the outside looking into the rotation unless something changes at training camp or trade is eventually or health is a thing. So the under, I think, is the safe bet there for Jalen. And honestly, I would not be surprised if Jalen's actually moved at the trade deadline. He's an expiring contract next season. He has 1 year left after this deal. So if you wait to the trade deadline, you basically only have to pay him for a third of a season the rest of this year, and you get him for 1 year ahead of that. I would not be surprised. I know people looking at more at Vooch and stuff like that being traded, but I wouldn't be surprised if a team that has an injury may need – hell, the Pacers may circle back to Jalen Smith. Their center position is crap right now. So
yeah, that's true. I didn't think about it. Pacers hate making trades with the Bulls, though. They definitely might have to circle back around on a guy like Jalen Smith. He is more of a center.
Yeah, he is. Yeah,
and while I would love him
shoot threes, yeah,
I would love for him to be the power forward that you can rely on. I mean, like the shooting splits are just too erratic.
Yeah,
and I think that's something you can't count on a game in and game out basis. And Billy's kind of to the point where it's like, if I can't count on you to do this one thing that I'm asking you to do game in and game out, I don't need you in my lineup.
And you can't blame him for that view either. So we shall see. Anything left, Pat, before we get up out of here?
Nah, man, that's it. Appreciate y'all for tuning in and showing love as always. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page. Leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. Follow us on everything at Locked On Bulls. You can follow me on everything at Pat the Designer.
You guys can follow me at CEO Haize. Locked On Bulls is free and available on every podcasting app and platform of your choice, as well as YouTube, the Odyssey app, Amazon Fire TV, Roku TV, Fubo TV, basically anywhere you want us. You can get it. We'll catch you guys bright and early tomorrow morning where I'm going to go in on Javon Carter. Love you guys. See you guys tomorrow. Peace.
Peace.